financing is over. But at Phil Long Ford in Motor City, American value still means something. Colorado's best season, Phil Long's biggest discounts of the year. 0% financing, no payments for 90 days. And I'll throw $1,000 towards your down payment. Plus, get a complimentary 2-year premium maintenance plan.
That's the Phil Long way.
We'll beat any deal by $750, and we'll prove it. Only at the original Ford store in Motor City.
Well, good morning, crew. I am Matt Meister. This is Peaks to Plains Weather. Welcome to Mornings with Meister. I hope you are having a good morning. Cheers to you. I've got the tail end of the American Classic Coffee American Dream in my mug. It is a light single origin roast. Super, super good, like all of Spence's roasts. And tell you what, if you haven't tried them yet, I suggest you do. It's really, really good, easy drinking coffee. And I need this today. It was a heck of a day across the area yesterday and a heck of a day in the weather center, that's for sure. And we've got more storms on the way today. Here's what I want to start with. We begin with a little bit of a recap from yesterday. And a lot of you use the Peaks to Plains weather app to send us pictures and videos. So thank you for doing that. Peaks to Plains weather is our weather together. Alec on the northeast side of Colorado Springs and Wolf Ranch sent this photo in. Real moisture-laden looking clouds. They were yesterday, no doubt about that. If you got under one of the heavier storms, you had a situation like Randy in Westcliff. He got more than 1.5 inches of rain in the afternoon. A good old-fashioned gully washer, literally across the area, because those heavy rain-producing storms moved over the Aspen Acres fire. This is from Chrissy's place along Squirrel Creek. She's in an area that didn't burn, but you can see all of the ash, the burned organic material making for black water there at her place. And we had some flooding issues across the Aspen Acres fire. On the left-hand side of the screen here, this is on the southwest side of Beulah at Game Gulch on Highway 78. The left-hand side's 455. 5 minutes later, had a flash flood that was ongoing. Here's a look at some of the impacts from this. You can see crews from the Beulah fire checking out a large tree over the road. A lot of mud flow over the area, buried either a trailer, it looks kind of like a farm implement to me here. So there's some cleanup to do, and if you live in and near the creeks here or flood susceptible areas, that anyways in the Aspen Acres fire the next couple days, you may see more of that. The storms yesterday over the plains did produce quite a few areas of 50 to 70 mile per hour wind. Leslie took this near Rocky Ford. You saw that video from Adrian that was east of Pueblo yesterday. And let me pull up the storm reports here for you because we had quite a few wind reports. So this is over the last 24 hours. And I'll widen the view here. Let me change this to our gray map background. And you can see all of those little arrows there. Those are the reports where we had wind at 58 miles per hour or more. There were a number of them east of the Denver area. In fact, in Bennett, a 70 mile per hour wind gust. Personal weather stations were measuring strong wind as well, between 58 and 70 miles per hour over eastern El Paso County. As the storms rolled through Pueblo County, we measured some strong wind at the airport. 68 mile per hour gust on the northeast side of Pueblo West, and out across the far eastern plains, still getting really strong wind through the evening yesterday. And so it wasn't really hail that was an issue, but it was some strong wind gusts. We even had one off to the north of Walsenburg yesterday, Colorado City, 61 mile per hour gust. We did get a report of some 1-inch diameter hail in Castle Rock, but flooding was the other issues out there. As I showed you around the Aspen Acres fire, we also had some flooding in the Copper Gulch Road area, this in Fremont County. And with all the rain that we had around the region yesterday, crew, we've got the potential for some flooding today. And so as we head through the afternoon, just know that if you had more than 1 inch of rain yesterday and you're in a spot today where you get one of the stronger storms, you're in an area that could get some flash flooding. So here are the locations that had the heaviest rain. And you're looking for the bright green there is kind of the dividing line. That's an inch or more estimated from radar. And from reports I got from a lot of you and that are coming in on Coco Roz this morning, they matched. Some areas had more than 2 inches of rain. And so there is a flash flood watch today for Teller County, the eastern mountains out across the plains where we had some of the heavier rain yesterday. So that's kind of the big thing to be aware of today. And, you know, flooding in my mind is no joke because it can change really, really fast, as you saw with the Aspen Acres fire yesterday and Game Gulch. Keep in mind that the easiest thing to do a lot of times is just to seek higher ground, especially if you're in an area along a creek or something. The easiest thing to do is just head up the hillside. That's a good thing to remember. It's tough to outrun a flash flood if you are running along a creek bed or something like that. So, you know, got to know ahead of time what you're going to do when emergency situations develop. All right, let's check out what is happening out there this morning as we get our day underway. I will begin here at South Academy in Colorado Springs, and it's another day where we've got partly cloudy skies overhead. So some lingering what we call debris clouds from the storms yesterday. Humidity is still really, really high in Colorado Springs. We've got a lot of water at the surface as well. In Pueblo this morning, it's sort of the same thing. Our humidity is up. We had some good rain move across town yesterday, and we sit at 65 this morning. Now our temperatures are going to come down a little bit today compared to what we had yesterday. We did hit 100 in Lamar. We're starting in the 50s and 60s. And as we transition to our short-term forecast for today, we'll be a little bit different than yesterday in terms of being a little bit cooler than what we had. And some of that is because more clouds around, more thunderstorms around for the second day in a row, and the high is shifting. So it's in a place today, even though it's moved a little bit farther to the southwest, that we get another day that on Skyscan is going to look like what we had yesterday. So here's where the high is early this morning. You can see the clockwise flow around that thing. It's moved a little bit. It's out of Texas now. It's shifting a little bit farther to the west. It is on a journey westward as we move toward the weekend. But we've got a little wave across Utah today that will rotate over Colorado and is going to bring us another day of thunderstorms. So here's how I think things will play out. Prior to lunchtime, we start to see some developing over some of the higher peaks. And we again have flow from southwest to northeast over the eastern plains that'll start to curve kind of more east and southeast a little bit. But as a generality, I think a lot of us will see a storm threat at least up against the front range here over the cities, maybe an hour or two later than it was yesterday. So that's kind of something to keep in mind from a timing perspective. But the storms that are out there are going to put down heavy rain again. You can see SkyCast picking up on the reds and some of the pinks that we had on the radar yesterday. And so if you get hit by one of the stronger ones, you might have on either side of an inch of rain again. And it's possible you get a couple thunderstorms today, kind of like what we had yesterday. And so as we head into the evening, things are shifting east again, and we'll keep some thunderstorms around, especially with that first wave being driven by the short wave coming in from Utah out near the Kansas line. Anything back behind it, you know, kind of like last night, we can't rule out some rain or maybe a lingering thunderstorm. They're just not going to be as strong as that first round. And that's kind of how it is on a daily basis here. And then we'll still see a couple clouds around as we head into Thursday. So our temperatures today come down even a couple degrees more than yesterday. So in Teller County, I don't think we hit 80. We'll get close to it maybe in a couple spots, especially as you start to come down Ute Pass there, but you get into El Paso County pretty quick. And, you know, the numbers will be warming up as you drop in elevation. We'll be in the low 80s up on the north end for Palmer Lake, the Tri-Lakes, out across Black Forest, northern sections of the county, and you get warmer as you drop in elevation across the county. As storms shift from west to east and end tonight, I think as we wake up on Thursday, we're real close to where we are this morning. Over the mountain areas, that's where the storms start first. And like I said, prior to lunch, we'll start to see the clouds getting vertical development up over some of the higher slopes and peaks. And then things spread across the valleys as we move into the afternoon. And, you know, prior to 3 o'clock, we're starting to see things get going here east of the interstate. Maybe a lingering storm this evening, not as much heavy rain potential as the first round. We wake up in the 50s and 60s on Thursday. A little bit farther to the south, it's another day where if you get hit by a thunderstorm with temperatures mainly in the 80s and then getting cooler, every sort of 1,000 feet you go up, we drop about 5 degrees. Heavy rain possible again. And then the evening is quieter as the storms begin to shift away from the front range, and anything over the mountains in the evening should be pretty isolated. 100 is tougher to come by for those of us east of the mountains today. We'll be in the mid-90s, I think, on the higher end of things. Hottest in the southeast corner, where we'll be around 97 or 98. But up against the hills, we find some 80s and low 90s today. So this is the coolest day of the stretch here, and not too different as we wake up on Thursday. Storms coming to an end from west to east over the plains this evening. Palmer Divide, we had some heavy rain yesterday around Elizabeth. We had more, or not Elizabeth, excuse me, around Albert. I don't know where that came from. We had more than 2 inches of rain. And so there are some spots that are really susceptible to some flash flooding today. It's something to be aware of. Out east near Kansas will be around 90, higher terrain. You get into Elbert, Douglas County, northern El Paso County, we're in the 80s today. So that's kind of how our temperatures break down. And then as we head into tomorrow, we're starting in the 50s and 60s. By the afternoon on Thursday, we warm up a couple more degrees. So close to 90 again in the springs, close to 100 over the plains, mountain areas. And the valleys maybe warm up a degree or two, but there is another day of storms on the way tomorrow. I think the coverage might be a little bit less the whole, but the storms will still bring some heavy rain. I don't think we get severe weather today or tomorrow like we had yesterday with the strong wind gusts. And like I said, the coverage is maybe down a little bit, not just for Thursday, but into Friday as well. We do get a little cold front that comes in on Friday. That pulls the temperatures down another couple degrees. It's still another day of thunderstorms. Then we see things change as we head toward the weekend, because as the high keeps shifting off to the west, how the monsoon flow is getting into Colorado, or more importantly, out of Colorado, is what drives our forecast. All right. You guys checking in this morning. Kathleen says, loving the cool start to the day. PA Pops or Pop Pops says that as well. Any critical updates on the San Isabel area with the storms last night? You know, there was a water rescue in that area for you guys, and I don't have any updates on closed roads or anything like that, but I'll be honest, I was in here late last night and I haven't had a chance to look into that. Let me see if CDOT real quick has any road issues down in the area. It's one of the nice things about Peaks to Plains. I can just answer the questions that you guys have. Roads are still closed in the area to non-residents, so the amount of information that I get out of there isn't as much as you might normally. I don't see anything specifically pop-ups, but I'll look after we're done here, and maybe I'll do a social media post about that. All right, we'll take a short break. We'll talk about the extended forecast, because as storm chances go down, you know what comes up this time of year. I'll have that when we come back. You're on Mornings with Meister here on Peaks to Plains Weather. Love your yard with a new outdoor space from F&B Landscaping. From a new build to a new project in an existing yard, we listen and give you the yard you want within your budget. Lawns, water features, xeriscaping. We've got the artistic touch and technical know-how to bring the peak of Colorado outdoor living to your home. Reliable, trustworthy. Visit fblandscapes.com to schedule a free consultation today.
Catherine.
And I'm Dewey, here with another water-wise tip.
During summer, do you know why we water up to 3 days a week?
To make the best use of me.
Exactly. It builds deeper, stronger roots and makes your lawn more resilient.
Also, use the cycle and soak method. Try shorter cycles with breaks in between to reduce runoff.
And in spring or fall, you can water 1 or 2 days per week. Be water-wise and your lawn will thrive.
Now that's water-wise. Learn more at csu.org/waterwise.
Emergencies are unpredictable, but you don't have to be unprepared. Peak Alerts sends you targeted emergency alerts in real time for the places that matter to you most, so you know what's happening and what to do next. Know first, act fast. That's the power of Peak Alerts.
Another attorney commercial with big promises? Millions of dollars, practicing law 24 hours a day, blah, blah, blah. Let's get rid of the smoke and mirrors. None of that really matters. What does matter? Having a medical doctor as your attorney. That matters.
All right, so about the extended forecast here. Oh, looks like my camera needs to charge up. Well, we can fix that. All right. Fun morning. All right. As we move through the next couple of days, this high shifts off to the south. But you can see on the water vapor imagery here that we've still got plenty of water rotating overhead. And where the brighter colors are just to the south of Salt Lake City, that's where we've got a little bit more moisture in the mid levels of the atmosphere. And this is where the wave is that I was talking about earlier that's going to rotate across the area today. Those waves are really, really important because they give a little bit of extra lift in the atmosphere. But as the high shifts west for our weekend, things start to change up. One of the things that changes is that we'll begin to dry the atmosphere out. Now, we've had not just the monsoon up top, but a lot of water at the surface the last few days. That's why our storms have been such efficient rain producers. There's something we look at called precipitable water. It's if you take vertically the column of the atmosphere and you look at how much water you could squeeze out in theory, it's between an inch and a half today. So that kind of gives us an idea of the rain potential. Not only will the upper levels dry out over the weekend, but the surface will as well. So as the high is kind of shifting west the next couple of days, we have a few more rounds of afternoon thunderstorms. See this kink in the flow across the plains here as we move into Friday. So kink in the black lines, that drives the front in here. It'll pull the temperatures back a little bit, kind of helps the high shift off to the west. Still enough moisture in the northwest flow Friday that we get another day of storms, and some of them will still have some heavy rain. But then after having about 24 to 36 hours of kind of a northerly flow coming in with the high centered around Las Vegas over the weekend, we'll push the moisture off to the south and kind of shunt things and give ourselves a break. The other thing that happens is we've got this area of low pressure up across the northwestern United States. That's going to help to bump the temperatures up a little bit, as does the decrease in cloud cover and moisture. So by the time we hit Sunday into Monday, we're looking at triple digits again over the eastern plains, and we're well into the 90s for Colorado Springs. As the wave gets east of the mountain early next week, we start to watch for a cold front again. And the front probably arrives late enough on Monday or Monday evening that it's still a hot day. We start to get a couple of thunderstorms around, and some of that will depend on the timing of the front. So I'll have to keep an eye on that over the weekend and maybe adjust the coverage of storms that we expect for Monday. But then behind that front, we do get an increase in low-level moisture again, and I think we start to talk some storms again, if not on Monday, by Tuesday. So the extended forecast is kind of shaping up like this here. Notice how you get a bump in the numbers Sunday and Monday in particular, and then come back down early next week with the front, so that'll bring us another couple days of some storms. Over the weekend, even over the mountains, the chance of storms is less. If we get one, I can't sound the all clear, but they'll be fewer and farther between, and they'll have higher cloud bases, producing gusty wind and just a little bit of rain versus the, deluge type things that we're dealing with right now. But even in the mountains, the temperatures will come up here for Sunday and Monday and then drop a little bit. Pueblo, it's the same story. Storms will start to be fewer of them for Thursday and Friday, but we'll still have, the ones around will produce heavy rain, triple digits ahead of the cold front that knocks us back a little bit and brings us a chance of storms. So that's how I see things here on Peaks to Plains weather and kind of what I am doing with our forecast as of now. We'll be here today talking about flood concerns as we head through the afternoon. We'll do push alerts in the Peaks to Plains weather app, let you know about some of that coverage. We've got when there's high impact weather in the area, and we push things on social media as well. So I appreciate you being a part of what we're doing here. And we're just trying to take care of our community. This is our weather together. I got a couple things to do this morning. I need to go take a nap. Got to get ready for the thunderstorms this afternoon. So that's it for me this morning. One thing I will leave you with here is, as we look a little bit farther out into the future, kind of getting toward the middle part of August, you know, we're not totally going to get rid of the monsoon here, which is pretty typical. Usually it starts to wind down in the back part of August. We'll get another hot stretch here. This is looking in the 6th through the 12th, so kind of just outside of the extended forecast that I showed you. And we'll maybe get a little bit of a drier stretch here with the heat, but notice over Arizona in the middle part of the month, there's more moisture. That will rotate back over Colorado. So we're still going to get some stretches here where we're kind of stormier, and then when we're not as stormy. And as we look out beyond that into the back part of August, into September and October, we still see signs that will keep the monsoon around maybe into early September. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then we start obviously cooling off. Days start getting shorter. And we start watching the potential for an active winter with El Nino that starts to really become an issue. We have a higher correlation of El Nino impacting our weather during the cooler months than we do during the warmer months. And so, you know, after having a just this poor winter, we're certainly going to have more snow around, but there's potential for a couple of really strong type storms, especially east of the mountains. Early and late in the season, there's potential for like a once in 5 year, 10-year type storm. If you go back and historically you look at when some of our bigger storms have been in the wintertime, they kind of match up with El Nino. So that's something we'll keep talking about. I did an update on that last week, and so I just thought I'd mention that to you here this morning. So have a good day, my friends. I appreciate you being part of the Peaks to Plains weather crew very much. Tell a couple people about Peaks to Plains weather today. Mary and her baby, Maddie May, are doing great. Her and David are still at the hospital, and baby's healthy, and everybody hugging on each other and all of that stuff, as you would expect. I'll do a social media post with some of the baby pictures out there today if you haven't seen them on social media. Crew, that's it for me. Have a good morning. Here's hoping you get some rain this afternoon, but if you had rain yesterday, here's hoping you don't get too much. Thanks for joining me.
This is John May, General Manager of Petrale Roofing, up on another customer's roof doing a free 21-point inspection. If you'd like us to take a look at your roof, give us a call today, 719-375-8773. We'd be happy to take a look and see the condition of your roof. Petrale Roofing, we're a Diamond certified TAMCO installer, which means we can offer a industry-leading 25-year workmanship warranty to give you peace of mind in the storm. Call Petrale Roofing, 719-375-8773. Schedule your free inspection today.